everyone, it's me, Terry, of the Yarn Joy podcast. Welcome back to another episode of Tuesday Tidbits. So in today's Tuesday Tidbits, I thought we'd do another crochet with me. The pattern I picked out for today's crochet with me is from Yarnspirations, and it is the Citrus Slice Coasters. I just thought this such a cute summer project. This is the beginning of the summer or summer season, and I just thought that it looked like it would be something fun to have, especially if you use the different colors, because if you use orange and white, it look like an orange. If you use yellow and white, it would be like a lemon, and then if you have a green, it would look like a lime. And this is all done with cotton yarn. And so let's get started, and we will crochet up one of these cute little coasters. To make this citrus slice coaster, you will need 2 colors of cotton yarn. Now I'm going to make the lemon slice because that's what I had in the cotton yarn. I really like the orange, but I didn't have any orange cotton, so I'm going with the lemon. And so the 2 yarns that I'm going to be using, they both are peaches and cream cotton, okay? And I'm using the colorway gold for my yellow because this is what I had on hand, and I'm also going to be using just white. Both of them are peaches and cream cotton, but you can use Lily sugar and cream, any type of crochet cotton that you would prefer to use. Okay, this is a worsted weight or number 4 weight yarn. Okay, so besides the yarn that you would need, you need the pattern calls for a 3.75 millimeter hook, and that's if you are using number 4 weight cotton. I tend to crochet rather tight, so I decided to, instead of a 3.75 millimeter hook, I'm going to use a 4 millimeter hook, or a G hook in American terms, okay? And then I also have 1 hook size bigger, which is the 4.5 millimeter hook. I'll tell you about that in just a minute. And then you're also going to need some scissors, a yarning needle to do your embroidery and weaving in your ends, and a stitch marker. So let's go ahead and get started with this awesome pattern. So the first thing you need is your white cotton, and you're going to use this for just 1 round, and then you'll immediately change into your other color. So the reason I have 1 hook size bigger is because if you are a very tight crocheter, and if you have trouble working into, doing that beginning ring of your pattern, in this case, it does not call for a magic ring. It calls for where you chain 2 and then work into that first chain that you chained. And so if you have a trouble with the chains being too tight to work into that chain, then you can go up 1 hook size and just make your chain 2, and then go ahead and immediately change to the hook size you want to use to continue the whole project with. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take my larger hook, and I'm going to attach my yarn to it with a slip knot. Okay. And now I'm going to chain 2. 1, 2. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my hook out, and I'm going to use my G hook or 4 millimeter hook to finish the rest. So I replace that in the loop, and then I'm going to go into the first chain, which is the second chain from the hook, or the first chain that you created after your slip knot where you attached, and I'm going to work into that chain, and I'm going to make 6 single crochets. If you started with that larger hook, that seems to help, because you have to work 6 stitches into that first chain, and that's a lot of stitches to go into that 1 chain. Okay, so I made my first single crochet, and I'm going to go ahead and get my marker. If you have a hard time finding your first stitch of the round when you're working this beginning round, then you can go ahead and put a stitch marker in that first single crochet that you just made, which is the only one I've made so far. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put the stitch marker in there that marks my first stitch of the round, so I'll be able to find it when I'm going to join into it. Okay, so that was one single crochet, and I got to make 5 more because I want 6 in total. So here's number 2, all going into that same beginning chain, you know, in that same hole there. Here's number 3. Okay, so I'm halfway through. Now I'm also wanting to work over my beginning tail. That helps to weave it in if you work over it as you go. Okay, so I have 3 of them in there now, so I now need number 4. See, I'm working over that beginning tail. Number 5. Okay, and then 1 more single crochet, which will make 6. Okay. Now, I worked over the beginning tail. I still have a little bit of it left. I'll just pull it to the back and I can weave in that later. Okay, so now I have 6 single crochets in that beginning round. And another thing you can do is you can kind of grab them and kind of work them back and forth like that, just to kind of loosen them up and move them around the ring, you know, if they're all bunched up on one side. And that can kind of help flatten them out also. Okay, so now I'm going to join to my first single crochet so I can go on to round 2. And since I've got that marker there, I can easily see where my first single crochet of the round was or is. And so I'm going to go right into that marked stitch. Now I can go ahead and take the marker out, but make sure you take note as to where you took it out from. And then you go into that stitch. Okay, now ordinarily I would join with a slip stitch. I am going to do that, but I need to change colors. So I'm going to go ahead. I have my hook inserted into that stitch where I'm going to do the slip stitch, but now I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut off just a little, you know, leave a little bit of a tail so that way you have some tail to weave in. Move that aside, bring my next color in, okay? And now I'm going to hook this yarn onto my hook, okay? And just hold those ends together, and I'm going to bring that through that first stitch and complete my slip stitch. And see, then I've changed colors. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to just kind of pull on those yarn ends back there to kind of get that stitch tightened up. Okay, now I'm going on to round 2. So champ 1 with our new color. And round 2 wants me to do 2 single crochets in each stitch all the way around. So right now we have 6 stitches, so we're going to end up with 12 stitches at the end. So I'm going to go immediately into that first stitch, and I'm going to do 1 single crochet. Okay. And then go back into that same stitch and do another single crochet. Okay, now I'm going to take my stitch marker and I'm going to put my stitch marker into not the one we just made, because that's number 2. I want to go into the very first single crochet that I made. See that? And then put my stitch marker in. Okay, now continuing on around, that was stitch numbers 1 and 2. So now I'm going to do stitch 3 and 4 into the next single crochet of the round. 3 and 4. Okay, and then 5 and 6 into the next one. 5 and 6, all single crochets. Whoops. Oh, I lost it. Okay, this is number 6. Okay. Okay, now 7 and 8 will go into the next stitch. 7 and 8. 9 and 10. Okay, 11 and 12 will go into the final stitch, and there's my 12 stitches around for round number 2. Okay, so now I'm going to go into that first stitch where I have it marked, and I'm going to do a slip stitch into that stitch to join that round. Slip stitch, then chain 1, and now we're going to start round 3. If you pull on these stitches at the back, it kind of helps that where that join is, where the color change is, kind of straightens that out. Makes it look neater, see? Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and go right back into that stitch, into that first stitch with a single crochet. Round 3 says 1 single crochet in the next stitch and then 2 single crochets in the next stitch. And you're going to have 18 stitches at the end of this round. So here's 1 single crochet into the first stitch of the round. Put my marker into that stitch. That marks the beginning of round 3. And then I'm going to do 2 single crochets into the next stitch. 1 and 2, see? Okay, and that is my sequence for all the way around the circle. So there's stitch number 1, and then stitch number 2 and 3 is in the same stitch together. And here's stitch number 4, and then stitch number 5 and 6 is going to be in the next stitch together. Okay, stitch number 7 is next. Stitch number 8 and stitch number 9 is going to be in the next stitch. Stitch number 10 is by itself. Stitch number 11 and stitch number 12 are going to be into the next stitch. Stitch number 13 is by itself. Stitch number 14 and stitch number 15 is in the stitch together. Stitch number 16 is by itself, and then in the last stitch we're going to do stitch number 17 and stitch number 18. Okay, so now we have 18 stitches around our circle. Okay, we're going to take out the stitch marker and we're going to do a slip stitch into that first stitch where the stitch marker was to join our round. We're going to chain 1, and then we're going to go on to round number 4. In round number 4, we're going to do 2 single crochets in the next stitch, so that's an increase, and then 1 single crochet each in the next 2 stitches. Okay, so we're going to lead off with the increase this time. So we're going to do 2 single crochets into this first stitch, 1 and 2. Okay, put my stitch marker in stitch number 1. Okay, and then we're going to do 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and then 1 single crochet in the next stitch. Okay, so that's 4 stitches right there we've done so far on this round. So number 5 and number 6 is an increase in 1 stitch, so 5 and 6 both in the same stitch. And then 7 is a single by itself, and then 8 is a single by itself. Okay, and then 9 and 10 is an increase. It goes in the same stitch. And then 11 is a single, and 12 is a single. 13 and 14 is in the same stitch. And then 15 is a single, and 16 is a single. 17 and 18 is an increase in 1 stitch. 19 is a single. 20 is a single. 21 and 22 will be in the next stitch. And then 23 is a single. And then 24 is a single. Okay. Now I'm going to take my marker out and I'm going to do a slip stitch into that stitch where the marker was to close up that round to finish it off. Okay. So that is what you're looking at. That is what it's looking like at the end of round 4, and you should have 24 single crochets all the way around your circle. Going on to round 5, we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to do, let's see, 1 single crochet each in the next 3 stitches, and then 2 single crochets in the next one. Okay, so we're going to start off with the singles. So we're going to do 1 single crochet into that first stitch, the same stitch that we joined in with the slip stitch. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and put our marker in that first stitch that we just made. And now we're going to do a single in the next stitch and a single in the next stitch. So we have 3 single stitches. Okay, 1 in each stitch. And then now we're going to do an increase of 2 stitches in 1. So that's stitch number 4 and stitch number 5. Okay, and now we're going to repeat that sequence all the way around our circle. At the end of this round, we should have 30 single crochets around our circle, okay? So let's keep going. So we're doing 3 singles and then an increase. So this is 5 stitches right there. So number 6 is a single, 7 is a single, 8 is a single, and then we're going to do 9 and 10 together in one stitch. 9 and 10. Okay, and then 11 is a single, 12 is a single, 13 is a single, and then 14 and 15 is in one stitch. 16 is a single, 17 is a single, 18 is a single, and then 19 and 20 goes into the same stitch. 21 is a single, 22 is a single, 23 is a single, 24 and 25 goes in one stitch, and then 26 is a single, 27 is a single, 28 is a single, and then 29 and 30 will go into the last stitch, 29 and 30. So now we have 30 stitches all the way around our circle. Take the marker out, slip stitch into that stitch where the marker was to close up the circle. Okay, now we're going to chain 1 in preparation to going on to round 6. Okay, so for round 6, the way they have the increases, the sequence of it is a little bit different. What they're doing is they're trying to alter where the 2 single crochets in one stitch, the increase sections, they're trying to alter where that lands. So if you're familiar with doing circles, if you put an increase in the same place as you're making a circle, and if you started with 6 stitches in the middle, you actually end up with something shaped that looks kind of like a hexagon. So that's why they are changing where they're doing the increases to make your circle have a more rounded edge instead of having any like little corners sticking out. I don't know if you can tell, but you can see like I did an increase here, I did an increase here, and I did one right here, and so it kind of makes a flat edge. And so that's why this round number 6, the way they're doing the instructions, it looks kind of strange and to read it, but let's go ahead and we'll do it together, and maybe I can help you out with that. Okay, so what we do is we've already got the chain 1, and I'm going to do 1 single crochet in each of next 2 stitches. So 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and that's where that's the first stitch, so I'm going to put my marker into that stitch. Okay, and then we're going to do 1 single crochet in the next stitch. And then now it says to do an increase of 2 single crochets in each stitch. In the next stitch, sorry, 2 single crochets in the next stitch. So 1 and 2, okay? So now we have 4 stitches right there. Now we are going to do a regular type sequence until we get to the last 2 stitches, okay? So what we're going to do from here is we're going to do 1 single crochet in the next 4 stitches, 1 stitch in each. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so what we did in the beginning, we did 2 of them, so that's half of that 4 of the singles that we're doing. That's what that was. Okay, so we did 4 singles, and now we're going to do 1 increase, 2 stitches in 1. Okay, all single crochets. Okay, now we're going to repeat that sequence until we get to where we have 2 stitches left on our circle. Okay, so we're going to do one stitch in the next stitch, 1 stitch in the next one, 1 in the next one, and 1 in the next one. That makes 4. And now we're going to do our increase, 2 stitches in 1, 1 and 2. Okay. Okay, so that's our sequence. So 1 stitch in the next 4 stitches. So 1, 2, all singles, 3, and 4. And then we're going to do our increase of 2 stitches in 1, 1 and 2. We're going to do that again. 1 single, 2 is a single, 3 is a single, and 4 is a single. And then we're going to do an increase of 2 in 1. So 1 and 2 in the same stitch. Okay, we're going to do another repeat of that sequence. So 1 is a single, 2 is a single, 3 is a single, 4 is a single, and then an increase in the next stitch, 1 and 2. Okay, and see we have 2 stitches left before our marker. And see we started with 2 stitches. So actually this is going to be, that section is going to be 4 singles with increases on either end, just like what we've been doing all the way around, okay? It just changes where those increases are because we're trying to make sure we have a round piece and not something that looks like a hexagon, you know, with straight sides, okay? So go ahead and do 1 single in each of these 2 remaining stitches, and that will finish our round. If you count your stitches, you should have 36 stitches all the way around our circle now for round number 6. I'm going to take my marker out so then I can go right into it and do a slip stitch to finish that round. Okay, so that was round 6. Chain 1 in preparation of going on to round 7. Okay, so round 7, we're going. This one is more of an easy sequence. Okay, so it says we're going to start with an increase. So we're going to do 2 stitches in the first stitch of this round. So 1 and 2, just like that. And then I'm going to take my marker and I'm going to put it in the first stitch of those 2 that I made. And then now we're going to do some singles. We're going to do 5 singles. So we're going to do 1, 2, just 1 in each stitch, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then we're going to repeat that sequence all the way around. So we're going to do, we did 5 singles. Oh, well, actually we did an increase and then 5 singles. And then we're going to do an increase and 5 singles, increase, 5 singles, like that. And we're going to do that all the way around. We will end up with the 5 single stitches at the end, okay? And I'll meet you up when I get to the last stitch. We got to the end of round 7. I now have 42 stitches around my circle. I'm going to go ahead and join to the first stitch, but I did go ahead and cut my tail because I'm going to change colors in the next round. And so I took my stitch marker out. I'm going to go ahead and go into that first stitch, but like I'm going to do a slip stitch, but I'm not going to take this yarn. That's why I cut it. I'm going to take my white yarn and I'll pick that up and go ahead and complete my slip stitch to join that round. Okay, chain 1, and now let's go on to round 8. In round 8, it's going to be another one of those split sequence rounds. So we're going to go put 1 stitch, 1 single crochet in the first stitch, and I'm going to put my marker in that first stitch, and then I'm going to do 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch. So you have 3 stitches right there. Now I'm going to do my increase, 1 and 2 in the same stitch. Okay, and then my sequence is going to be 6 single crochets and then my increase. 6 single crochets, increase, 6 single crochets, like that. And then, but then at the end, you're only going to have 3 stitches left instead of 6 to work into because we already did the first 3 stitches at the beginning of the round. Okay, so 1 single crochet in this next one, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and now it's time for another increase of 2 stitches in 1, so 1 and 2. Okay, and then now we're going to start our 6 singles again, and so that's what our increase is going, our sequence is going to be: 6 singles and then an increase, 6 singles, increase, like that. And then at the end, when you get to your last increase and you're getting ready to do another 6 singles, you're only going to have 3 stitches left because we already did the first 3. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and work this sequence, and I will meet you when I get to the end of the round. Finishing up round 8, I have 3 single stitches left to go to finish my round, so let's do those. 1, 2, and 3, and now I'm back at the beginning and I need to join. Okay, but we're also going to switch back to our yellow yarn. So I'm going to cut my white, and then I'm going to take my stitch marker out, go into that stitch like I'm making a slip stitch, but instead of bringing the white through, I'm going to get my yellow yarn, find the tail here, okay, and then I'm going to pull the yellow through to complete my slip stitch. Chain 1, and then I'm going to go ahead and go on to round 8. I'm going to do no, I'm sorry, we just finished round 8. We now have 48 stitches around our circle. Now I'm going on to round 9. So we joined the yellow back, and so I chained 1, and I'm going to go right into that first stitch, and I'm going to do 1 single crochet in that stitch, and then I'm going to put my marker in, okay, to mark that stitch. And I'm going to do 6 more single crochets. So I did 1. Well, 6 more, but a total of 7. So this is number 1, just did number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And now I'm going to do an increase of 2 stitches in 1, so 1 and 2. Okay, and then that's my sequence. I'm going to do 7 single stitches, and then an increase of 2 stitches in 1, and then 7, and then the increase, and then 7, increase, like that. And I will meet you up when I get around to the end of this round. I'm at the end of round 9. I just did my 7 single stitches, and now I've got 1 stitch left, and so that is going to take a increase. So I'm going to do 1 and 2 into that final stitch. Okay, now I'm going to fasten off because this is the end of the round. So I'm going to take my marker out, and I'm going, or into the pattern, into the round, into the pattern. And I'm going to slip stitch into that first stitch of the round, and then I'm going to cut my yarn, leave a little tail so then you can weave it in. And then I'm just going to pull my yarn through to fasten it off. Okay, so looking at my piece, I see that the transition, the color changes, is not quite the way I was wanting it to look right here when I did the color changing. And so what you can do is you can turn it over, and you can use these tails that you where you cut when you change colors, and you can straighten up those color changes to make them look however you want them to look, if you want to fix them up a little bit. So yarning my needle, I'm going to work on this white stripe here. Go over some of those yellow stitches to try to make that transition look better, where it's looks more like a stripe. Okay, that's looking better already. I think I want to do 1 more stitch across here. Just try to fill in that where it doesn't look so messy. Okay, you can play with that, and if you get it to where you like it. Now I'm just going to weave in this end. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and weave in these ends because it's probably kind of tedious watching me do this. And I will be right back, and then we will go on to the next step. I weaved in all my ends. I did go and get my yarn threader for my yarn needle threader to make it easier. Okay, so as you can see, I got some more markers because I was looking at the instructions, and I was thinking what would be a good way to put these segments on our citrus slice. And so in the pattern, it shows that they have 6 lines embroidered on there. And so you have 54 stitches around in your last round, which is a multiple of 9. And so I just put one stitch marker in the first stitch wherever you want. It could be the first one you like where you join into, or it doesn't matter, any stitch around. And so put your marker in your first stitch and then count 9 stitches. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then when I'm going to start over again, 1, that's when I say 1, that's when I put my next marker in. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then marker 1, 2, and if you do that, you will have 6 markers and they're all equally distributed. Okay, that's just optional. You don't have to do it that way. You can just eyeball it. You know, a citrus slice is something out of nature, and so it's, you know, not going to be, you don't have to be perfect. But that's the way I decided to do mine. Okay, so now I need to get my white because I'm going to use that as to stitch on the lines. I pull out a pretty good amount. It doesn't have to be an extra amount because we're going to be, it's going to be, I think, V's each time. Right? Okay, let's just do it. Okay, so I'm going to pull out a pretty good amount of yarn and cut my piece off. Uh-oh. It goes. I have yarn bits flying all over the place. Okay. I'm going to use this handy dandy yarn needle threader to get that yarn to go through there. Okay. So they don't start on the very edge. They start in this round where it's the white round. Okay. And I'm going to start where one of the markers are, but in the white section. And then I'm just going to pull up my yarn, but I'm going to leave a tail on the back because I'll have to weave that tail in. Okay. Okay, so now my goal is to just go down into the center section, just like that. But if you do it this way, of course, you'll have a big loop. And so we're going to have to do like a back stitch and work our way to the center. And it looks like they went in every stitch. I mean, you know, each round. So I'm going to put my yarn down through the first hole there. And then I'm going to come up right below that in the next round. Bring my yarn up. And then I'm going to go back and go, you know, to where that previous stitch is to meet it. That's a back stitch. Like that. Okay, and then I'm going to bring my yarn up the next stitch, this next row, and then I'm going to do the same thing. Go back to meet the white stitch from the previous stitch. Like that, see? Go to the next one. Go back to meet it. Like that. And go to the next one. Okay. And then do that all the way till we get to the center. And try to, you know, line it up as well as you can. See, mine's even off just a little bit, but that's okay. And now I'm going to be get into the white section here in the center. Okay, just like that. Now I'm going to turn my slice, and I'm just going to, since now I'm in the center, I'm going to come up and I'm going to go this way and meet that stitch marker, okay, to make a V. So just come up the center hole there, and then aim for that stitch marker, which is this stitch right there. Okay. And do the same thing. Going up each round. Every once in a while you look to see where you're going. See, I was about to get off there, so I need to come back a little bit. I'm going to come over a little bit. Okay. Make sure I'm heading toward that mark, that stitch marker. Okay. And then remember, we're going to, don't go all the way to the edge. We're just going into where it's going into that white round. Like that, see? So see, we got our first V, yay. Okay, so you're gonna repeat that, and you're going to, you know, have where you end up having 6 lines. So if I start there, I'd have a V there. That would take care of those 2. And then I can start here and go like that, do a V there. Oh, and that'll be it, right? So I just need to do that 2 more times, and then we should have our 6, what do you call those? Veins? They're not veins, but anyway, those lines. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish mine, and then I will meet you back at the end, and we'll see what it looks like. I finished all my other lines that I needed to stitch on there, and I also weaved in all my ends, so even the back doesn't look too bad. I weaved the tails into this outer white ring. So, yeah. So that is my Citrus Slice Coaster pattern by Yarnspirations. They did give me permission to make videos for their patterns. So thank you so much, Yarnspirations, for allowing me to do that. Thank you so much for following along with me in this crochet with me. I think this is such a fun little summer project. I thought these would look really cute on a table out by the pool, if you happen to be blessed to have a pool. If not, it would be really cute, I think, on a summer patio, you know, to put your drinks on, and I just think they're really cute. So thank you so much for watching this video for today, and I hope that you make some of these citrus slice coasters. I think they would be really cute to make several in different colors, in the orange for an orange and green for lime. Wouldn't that be cute? And have them for your coasters. Okay, I'm going to go. So everybody have a wonderful day. Come back tomorrow and we will meet again for Crafting with Friends. Bye.